Welcome back to JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare down greatness. You see it above me, man. We got 79 days until NFL Week 1. The NBA Finals is officially at 3-2 after the weekend of events. The NHL Final is at 3-2 with a game tonight that potentially might close out the season for hockey. Man, we are officially into the depths of summer. So you know what that means. It's the off season. We got 79 days until Week 1. We got some breakdowns to go over. Now, I told you last week I might be staying in the north. I won't lie to you. Got a little cold. Decided to go a little bit down south. So we're going to go over the NFC South today. We're going to talk a little bit Buccaneers action. We're going to talk some New Orleans Saints. And then this Thursday we'll go over the other two, which will be the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. This is a division that we might see a repeat of next year. Before we even get into that, and deciding who I like in the division and all that jazz, we should probably just start with the straight-up breakdown. So, without any further ado, we're going to start off with breaking down the New Orleans Saints. So, like I said, we're going to talk about the New Orleans Saints. Looking at this division from last year, the Buccaneers came in first with a record of 10-7. Falcons were 8-9 right behind them. That was a close finish to the end. Then the Panthers and Saints both finished 5-12. Saints technically finishing last, I'm assuming, because they lost to the Panthers. And they ended their season on a four-game losing streak. I mean, whew. Rough way in their season. I mean, we're coming into the season too. Pretty bad for the Saints. I mean, I wouldn't say bad for the Saints, but optimism isn't really. We'll just say it's not fully up there. My boy Rowan, shout out to him, man. I'm feeling for you, man. I'm feeling for you. Derek Carr announced this offseason that he is going to be stepping away from the team. So now, the quarterback has a new. The quarterback itself. I mean, there's just a whole new position at quarterback. We got Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener are the three that are battling for starting QB1. As of right now, according to ESPN on their depth chart, they have Tyler Shuck as the starter. I've heard some stuff about Spencer Rattler being decent in camp. Jake Haener is hurt as of right now, so he's missing a lot of the offseason. So there's a good chance he's probably not going to be starting, at least to start the season. So we're probably looking at Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler. That's kind of why I was okay with starting it, because it's like, well, I really don't know what to fully expect from Shuck. I expect just average rookie numbers in general. So if that's the case, then Spencer Rattler, do I think he's going to be much better than that? I really don't know. So I'm trying to look at that where it's like, all right, I don't know who they'd be better with, but they're probably on the march for Arch, as some people are saying. Running back wise, you got Alvin Kamara backed up by Kendre Miller, and then they have Devin Neal they brought in from Kansas last year. Wide receiver wise, I got Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks, Bub Means, Kevin Austin, Cedric Wilson. And then tight end wise, they have Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill, Foster Moreau. Their their offensive line, Talise Fuaga might be the leader in the clubhouse just because he was also drafted last year, so I'm not sure. They brought in Calvin Banks Jr. in the draft this season as well. I'm pretty sure they drafted him. I think he was their number 9 pick. Defensively, they bring back some of the same guys. They still got Cameron Jordan there. They still got Kalen Saunders from last year. They got Devon Gachow. I'm just going to leave it there. I apologize for the last name. Carl Granderson, Demario Davis, Pete Warner, Chase Young, Khalid McKinstry, Justin Reed, Tyron Matthew, Alontae Taylor, Uga Amadi to round out the DBs. Looking at this team, man, before we hop into the season, you look at this team and it's like, that's not a horrible team. So it just sucks for them that they lose out on, probably not Derek. I don't know the best way to put it, because I didn't think Derek Carr was going to get him over the hump anyway, so I was going to say it kind of sucks they did lose him, but I don't think it really changed too much for the team in general. I mean, if anything, obviously their ceiling's probably a little bit lower. I don't think the floor really changes too much. Maybe I'm phrasing that wrong. The floor changes a little bit. It probably drops a little bit lower, but I don't know how much the ceiling's going to change. I definitely said that backwards. Because this was a team that I already myself projected to be like, I don't want to say a good team, but not a great team. I already projected them before the season started. I bet the under 6.5 probably like a good month and a half ago. Before all this Derek Carr stuff happened, way before all that. I just saw the 6.5. I was looking through the schedule. I was just reading through more, and it's like, man, there's just no way they're going to win 6 games. And just especially with just offensively, I would say was their biggest question. Defensively, I like a lot of the guys they have. I'll admit, it's not like super excited about them, but I do like a decent amount of the guys they have. Receiver-wise, Rashid Shaheed good. Brandon Cook's good. Juwan Johnson, he's pretty good as well. or I guess good. I'm scared of Chris Olave just because I don't know what his health's going to be. I mean, he's been, and I think we literally just talked about this. I think like 2 weeks ago, 3 or 4 seasons in the NFL. I'm pretty sure it's been 3 seasons, or I like that 3 or 4. He's had a concussion in 3. He's had a concussion 3 times in 4 seasons. If he has played 4 seasons, so it's just one of those things where it's like if he can stay healthy, he's dominant. I don't know if I trust him to stay fully healthy just because it's nothing against him. He just seems to always end up in these spots where he gets concussed. Rashid Shaheed, I like the speed threat of him. I think bringing Brandon Cooks back definitely helps this wide receiver room because if Brandon Cooks wasn't there, it gets dusty really, really quick. So at least they have some depth. And I think he's going to be a good old veteran for those young guys. It's all just going to come down to the quarterback, man. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from the quarterback play between Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler. I don't expect anything amazing, but it's just, basically like I said, I don't have the ceiling very, very high, but I don't know how low the floor can really, really go. So that's more of just a question with the Saints team because let's just read through the schedule before we get into like win-losses and all that stuff. So week 1, they travel to Arizona. Week 2, home for Arizona, home for San Francisco, travel to Seattle, travel to Buffalo, home for the Giants, home for New England, away for Chicago, back home for Tampa Bay, away for Rams, away for Panthers. They get a bye week, week 11. Good bye week to have. You definitely want anytime you can get like a 9, 10, 11, 12 in the bye weeks, it's usually pretty good for team health, especially if you're a team who's trying to make a run. I don't know if the team's making a run. Then they're home for the Falcons, travel to Miami, travel to Tampa Bay, home for Carolina, home for Jets, travel to Tennessee, travel to Atlanta to end the season. Like I said, I think they could potentially beat Arizona. I don't see them beating San Francisco. Maybe beat Seattle. They could maybe beat the Giants. I would think they probably could. There's, at best, 3 wins right there. And then you go through the rest of the schedule. They'll probably split their division games with the Falcons and the Panthers, so there's 4 or 5. Maybe beat the Jets, 6. Maybe beat the Titans, 7. So, I mean, at best, I can see the team winning 8. They're going to be, at best, they're going to be 8 and 9, and that's if they have, like, pretty decent quarterback play. I don't know what to expect from their quarterback, so I'm all over that under of 6.5. I believe the under's moved to 5.5 now. I don't mind it, but like I said, I was able to get 6.5, which I love a lot. I think I got like minus 115, something like that. Forever going the opposite. Or no, it was like minus 130, minus 140. It was like heavy juiced. I lied. But like I said, they're over unders at 5.5 now. That does make me a tad nervous, but it's at best I don't think they're going to beat the BUCS twice, honestly. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I could maybe see them beating the Panthers once. I don't know if they'll beat the Falcons once. I would assume they would maybe, so then there's their second win. And then it's like, I would think they maybe beat the Giants. There's 3. Those are 3 games where I would say, like, okay, I give them 3 confident wins. Past that, I don't know, man. Miami, that's going to be a toss-up. Jets, I can see that being a toss-up. Tennessee's kind of a toss-up. Saints are one of those teams that's going to be at the bottom of the... I mean, they have a lot of talented players, but they're going to be at the bottom of the... I mean, Kellen... So also, they have a new... I didn't talk about coaching staff, so that was something else I forgot. They have some new coaches. Kellen Moore comes in. He's now the new head coach. That boy who was there before... Oh, what's his name? Man, what's his name? Dennis Allen, man. Holy hell. The best part, too, is I didn't even find it on Google. I just saw a picture of Sean Payton, and it's like, Dennis Allen. Yeah, so I do think they have an upgrade in the coaching staff since they have Dennis Allen going. Offensive coordinator, I think, is... offensive coordinator is Doug Nussmeier. Scott Tolzien will be the quarterbacks coach. Phil Galliano will be the special teams coordinator. Ted Rath will be... Oh, no, never mind. Ted Rath. I'm trying to find the defensive coordinator. I'm assuming that's going to... who's their defensive coordinator? Because I think that was... I think that changed as well with the moving on to the coach. Brandon Staley. Man, I just complimented that defense saying I like that defense. Now, I won't lie to you. I think he's definitely a little bit better as a defensive coordinator than a head coach, but oh man, I won't lie. I did not realize there was Brandon Staley as the DC. Heard that's kind of like, oh. I think the only name that I could hear that would have made me react even worse to that is probably Gus Bradley. But, yeah, you know why. But yeah, when it comes to actual like betting wise, like I said, we talked about some of the other stuff. I do like the Saints under 5.5. Tempting. I think I'm gonna probably stay away though. I just can't get myself to like the 5.5 part. I'll probably stay away from because I have 6.5 already. But yeah, I'm just trying to think about how this team just like trying to project out their schedule. Like I just don't know how it goes good. Basically, just good with their quarterback play. not a fan of their DC. I think Kellen Moore will be fine, but like I just they don't have a quarterback this year. And maybe Tyler Shuck's a guy. He has all the. He's basically the Mr. Trubisky of this draft because he had only 1 year. He has all this, all the attributes. You look at all the attributes, it's like big arm, all this other stuff. You look at it, it's like okay, I like that guy. But then you think about it a little bit more. He only played 1 year in college. Kind of scary. I think he had 3 serious injuries, so it's also kind of like, it's a little bit. And I mean, it's like broken bone, so it's not like super, super serious, but it's like injuries enough where it's like, that's still a pretty big injury. And I think the biggest thing for me is he backed up Justin Herbert. You hear stuff like that, and it's like, oh, so he's been in college for a fat minute now, and he just got out. Usually not a good sign nowadays. But then again, maybe we're starting to see it change a little bit. We saw it with Jaden Daniels. Some of these guys that stay for a little bit longer, they're coming in. They're starting to really see the game. One thing I'm very interested about the Saints team, way off topic, we're kind of in the future. I just saw that Doug Nussmeier is their offensive coordinator. I wonder if he has any relation to Garrett Nussmeier. Only reason I ask is because Nussmeier doesn't seem like... Not gonna lie to you. I don't think I see a Nussmeier walking around every day in the street. So it makes me wonder if there's going to be a connection there. I mean, if you think about it, New Orleans, Louisiana... I'm starting to wonder if, like, hey, maybe if they don't get Arch next year, Nussmeier might be a guy they go after. So that's just something to keep in the back of your brain for way later. All right, we're talking NFL draft of next season. So we're talking, like, basically 300 and, well, like, probably 340, 330 something days away. But keep that in the back. Just keep that in your back pocket as an option because it's just like, why did Garrett... Remember, Nussmeier, basically. When it comes to actual like player props and everything, I'm probably not going to take much Saints, stuff. And I'm interested kind of in taking an Olave under. I would want to take his receiving under just for the fact that he hasn't finished. I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to sound super shitty how I'm about to break it down, but it's a good way of, it's just basically because he hasn't finished the season healthy in a while, and he does, like, and truly, if he gets another concussion, he's probably missing, like, a good chunk of time, like, if not the whole season. It makes me want to lean his under, because basically it just comes down to, like, I would like to bet, if I get it wrong because Chris Olave had played a whole season, I'm okay with being wrong like that, because that means, like, hey, you played a whole season, congrats. We've been expecting that now for a couple seasons, but something that I do lean the under of Chris Olave's receiving yards. Just for, like I said, just for that main reason. I don't know what they are. I haven't been able to find them. But, like I said, that's one, if I can find, I'm probably going to end up taking his under Chris Olave's receiving yards just for, I don't know what, like I said, yeah, I just don't know what health is going to look like for him. I don't know what their quarterback situation is going to look like. It just stinks because I was trying to look it up earlier, and like I said, I have not found it on the book yet, so we're going to have to keep looking for that just to see anything later. Rushing-wise, I didn't see anything for Alvin Kamara, but I'm good. I don't think I want to bet. I'm not going to bet many Saints player props. If anything, I would be interested in Juwan Johnson, but that's somebody else we might have to wait for. And even then, like I was about to say, might have to wait till later in the season to see what his situation is looking like. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know what their quarterback situation is, and I don't think I trust either two of those guys that are there. So it's like, do I really want to take any Saints futures? Probably not. So there's a good chance that, honestly, I'm probably going to just lay off most of the Saints stuff. Like I said, I already did bet they're under at 6.5. Under at 5.5. Tempting. I would almost be, yeah, it's not bad. But they're under 6.5 by itself is just horrible odds. I will admit that. Absolutely horrible odds. I parlayed that. I'll admit, I'm not a big parlaying on futures. Hate doing that because usually I always lose by 1 or 2. So I absolutely hate doing that. But for a number's sake, I moved the Giants under 5.5 and the Saints under 6.5 together. I got that plus 186. Probably my favorite future I've placed all offseason so far. Because I generally, especially with the Giants and how hard their schedule is, we'll get to them when we break down their division. I don't know how they're going to win 6 games, dude. And the same, looking at the Saints, we went through their schedule. if they play really, really good and they have they have a top tier quarterback or like a better quarterback, I project them at the best 8 wins. At best, I see them doing 8 wins, but going through that schedule, man, I just don't know. And we're relying on Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck. I don't want to say this. The Saints might even pick up a veteran in the middle of the season. It's to that point where I truly the bottom could really, really bottom out here. And that's more of the thing to watch for this team. It's not more of how many wins, how many losses they're going to get. It's how competitive is the quarterback play, 1, and 2, does it ever end up bottoming out? Because win-loss wise, there's a reason that the Saints under 6.5 was heavy juice for a long time before it finally moved to 5.5. I mean, this is a team that's really going to struggle to win games, especially with their quarterback play. I think defensively they'll be able to hang in some of these games, potentially. But yet again, I don't like their DC. So if they're, I just player wise, I think they can hang around. I don't know what they're going to do scheme wise, especially with that boy Brandon Staley there. So I don't know. There's a lot with the Saints that kind of has me torn. But this is one where, like I said, I did bet they're under, and I might bet Olave under receiving yards. But that'd be it. I don't have any other really bets. We'll come back and see what Juwan Johnson's season total on touchdown is, what Alvin Kamara's touchdown total is. That'll probably be end of June, maybe probably end of July. It just depends whenever the book throws everybody's numbers out. Then I'll do. We talked about it before. I'll pretty much do it how I did. Or I'll do it how I think I did this last year. I can't remember fully, but pretty much where I go over all these over-unders, and then I'm going to go back and be all right, here's some that I missed that I also like as well. So that way, pretty much, honestly, if you watch every episode and you keep catching up, you're going to pretty much get every future that I bet. And by the end of the season, or before the start of the season, I might just do a massive, hey, here are all the futures we bet throughout the whole offseason in case you missed it. But that's going to be way down the line. Numbers could be way different by then, so that's why hopefully everyone's bouncing around and staying up to date with this a little bit, because I'm basically getting numbers as soon as I can. And like I said, I'm not going to review this again for probably another month or 2 until I go back and try to find the Chris Olave receiving over under, stuff like that. So I won't be bringing, like I said, betting wise, probably won't be bringing up the Saints again for a little bit. And we'll have to see. I'm really excited to do that though, to go back through the books when they actually unleash a lot of stuff, because it feels like they have basically 25, 30, maybe I'd say even 40. It feels like they have 40% of the stuff out for the NFL. It feels like they're just missing a few guys. I don't know if it's because of injury, if they just don't want to get got. There's a lot of stuff that I'm very curious about when it comes to the props they decide to put out. But like I said, we're kind of just running on about nonsense a little bit. Biggest bet, the NFC South, I project the Saints are probably going to be last in the division. I think the Panthers will be just above them this year. I think the Panthers will be decent this year, honestly. I think that they showed a decent amount to me last year, where it's okay, you guys actually might have a heartbeat. It's just going to matter of can you finally start getting the right guys in there? Because it seems like David Tepper's kind of calmed down a little bit. It seems like he's getting better at ownership with the Panthers. It seems like the GM and the coach are starting to get their footing and starting to feel a lot more confident. So, yeah, that's something that we are going to have to just keep watching and see what ends up coming of that. Yeah, and before we move on, like I said, they don't even have a quarterback passing yards up for any Saints guy. They don't have Spencer Rattler up here, and they don't have Tyler Shuck. So, I'm trying to see if they have any touchdowns. I don't think they even have touchdown props up yet. Nope. Not shocking. So, yeah, like I said, we'll probably review a lot of this again when we come back through summer. But basically, I think I mentioned this last week. I just want a minimum 1 or 2 futures on most teams. I'm going to try to really rein it in this year, because I just thought about it more and more as the season goes on. It's imagine you want 3 to 4 bets from me maybe, and you're all right, I just want 3 to 4. Let's see what you got. And I hand out 15, 20. It's how do I know what the best 3 to 4 are? So I'm really trying to narrow that down, because personally for me, I can bet. Obviously, I can bet however much I want whenever, really. So when it actually comes the giving out, I'm really trying to be if I don't love it, man, you don't have to give it out. You can take it yourself and not give it out. So that's really why I ended up with, like I said, Saints under 6.5, Chris Olave under his receiving yards. And the last thing I want to look up is finishing positions. I believe they have that up. If I can bet on the Saints to finish last in their position, we're going to see what the odds are for that. But I'm not 100% sure. I am not seeing it. They had it a bit ago, but now they don't have it really anymore. I thought, but yeah, I'm not seeing it. So we'll come back to that. I like the Saints to finish last in division, though, so that's probably another one I will be taking as well. Because I think there's going to be a lot of NFL fans that feel like the Panthers are going to be bad again, just like they were last year. And I actually think the Panthers might be sneaky good enough to where they could easily, like last year, where it's like they could both be 5-12, or the Panthers could be 6-11, and the Saints are 5-12. Like I think it'll be something very similar around that win record wise. I do think the Panthers take a bit of a slight step up. We'll get into that next week or Thursday though. That's going to do it for the Saints, like I said. So I for sure have the Saints under 6.5. 2 bets I'll be looking for as the offseason goes on is Chris Olave's receiving yards. I'm going to see what the over-under is, and I lean under as long as it's nothing like, 350 yards. If it's something like that, then obviously I'm not going to take the under because that's just egregious. But if it's anything that's like a reasonable wide receiver, like the 900 range, 1,000, 800 range, I will potentially consider taking that under. And then the Saints to finish last in division, we'll be on the lookout for that. If I find it, I will bring it up on... I'll bring it up on tomorrow or Thursday's show, but I'm not seeing it as of yet. So with that being done, that takes us to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they finished 10-7, won the division last year. I think it's back-to-back. Let me double-check that. Titles by year. I think they won it back-to-back, so they have a chance to go for a three-peat. Maybe do a little Mahomes dynasty of the division, win it 9 times in a row. So let's see. 2019 is the BUCS, 2022 is the BUCS, 2023. Oh my! I forgot actually because of the Brady year. Yeah, so they've won the division since 2021. They won in 21, 22, 23, 24. So they're going for the 5-peat. Excuse me. Let me put some damn respect on that name. I was joking around with like the BUCS becoming the Chiefs of the division, but they're actually kind of on pace. Holy shit! Like I said, I just totally forgot. That's just one of the things. It's nice coming back into like some of these breakdowns. It's just like, oh yeah, they won it for 5 years straight. Even if some of those years they only won it by a game and it was like 9-9, 9-8, stuff like that. Baker Mayfield's your starter with Kyle Trask backing him up. Michael Pratt's third string. Bucky Irving is your running back who's going to be starting this year. Then you got Rashad White, Sean Tucker behind him. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, who's the young guy from Ohio State. Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard, Trey Palmer are the wide receivers. Kay Nodden, Payne Durham, and Co Keefe are all returning from last year. Trenton Wirfs, obviously the stud leader of that offensive line. Then defensively, you got Logan Hall, Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey, Yaya Diaby, Anthony Walker Jr., Levante David, Hassan Reddick, Zion McCollum, Antoine Winfield Jr., Christian Izien? No, it's not Eisen. Christian Izien, Jamel Dean, and Tyke Smith. That is the defense for the Buccaneers, head coached by Todd Bowles. I think this is one of the few teams that didn't have many coaching changes. Oh, I'm dumb. Their offensive coordinator left to coach the Jaguars. So, Josh Grizzard has been promoted to offensive coordinator. He has a pass game coordinator with him. They have a defensive line coach change. Inside linebacker coach is returning. Someone will transition to run game coordinators. Yeah, basically I think the big change was, because Todd Bowles obviously head coach, defensive coach. Josh Grizzard becoming the offensive coordinator is pretty much the only change because Liam Cohen moved on to the Jaguars, so they lost their offensive coordinator he's been pretty good for them. The last, season, or I think he's only been max 2. I just can't remember. Can't remember how long he's been there. I just know his coaching career is like really, really young. And he's like basically he's not stayed at the place for more than a year. And I think the BUCS maybe stayed there for 2 years. If not, I think it was only 1. But he's like, or it might have been a thing where he's like with the BUCS, left, came back, and now he's a head coach. But he's done a lot of bopping around, as they like to say on the Pat McAfee show. He's been moving around a lot. He's been the 5 to 7 years he's been coaching. Like I said, new team every single season. Even if it's a team he's been to, it's like there, leaves, comes back, leaves. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting what he does with the Jaguars. But like I said, Josh Grizzard, we're going to have to see how much the offense changes. Week 1, the Bucs will be home for the Falcons. They'll travel to the Atlanta. And then they travel to Houston as well. Come back home for a 2-game homestand against the Jets and the Eagles. Oh, man, that's tough. That Eagles game, that's going to be a fun one. Then they travel to Seattle, come back home for San Francisco, travel to Detroit, travel to New Orleans, back home for New England, travel to Buffalo, travel to L.A., home for the Cardinals, home for the Saints, home for the Falcons, travel to Carolina, travel to Miami, back home for Carolina. Man, that's tough. So they got AFC. They don't have AFC South. They have AFC East and is it NFC West? Because I see the 49ers. I see the Rams. Um, 49ers, Rams, Arizona. Yeah, so it's that. So the two divisions. So they have obviously they play in division, and they're playing the AFC West, or sorry, not AFC West, AFC East, AFC East, and the NFC West. So that's going to be a little bit tough because yeah, like the 49ers are projected to be a little bit better this year. Texans should be decent this year as well. I think the Jets, we'll see with them, obviously. Philadelphia, obviously, they're going to be really good. Seattle, they got some upgrades. Man, this is a bit of a tough schedule. Shit, man. I think they will beat the Saints twice, so there's 2 wins. I think we'll split one with the Falcons. There's 3. We'll say they beat Carolina twice. I really don't know, though. I would think they'd be able to, but we'll see. There's 4-5. I think they can beat Miami. There's 6. They could potentially. I think they have the chance to beat New England. There's 7. Arizona, they probably could beat. We'll have to see, though. There's 8. Jets, I think they could beat. There's 9. Ooh, this is a tough schedule, man. Their over-unders at 9 and it's at 9.5. Over-under wins plus. Over-under 9 wins. 9.5 wins is plus money. I basically, before even looking at this team's schedule, I lied. I guess I kind of did take a quick peek, but I kind of projected them to go 9-8, just in general, looking at their schedule, and then re-looking at it again. It's like, yeah, maybe 10-7, 9-8 is about the range I land on. So I'm just gonna go over because it's plus money. This is probably a bet I am gonna take. We'll see if there's the way I kind of have to hedge this. We'll see if it actually comes to be something. But over a 9.5 win is plus 100 for the BUCS. I just think that they went 10-7 last year. They're bringing back a lot of the same core. I think there is a really good chance that there's a good chance they have to basically run it back, win the division again, the division kind of came down to the wire at the end of the season. Seems like it might do it again. I think that, if anything, the later end of the schedule for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers looks a lot nicer than the beginning of the schedule does. So I think the back end's where we're going to see a lot more of the wins come. It might be a rough few weeks to start the season. We need to remember that. I'm trying to remind myself, too. Remember that for next season. Beginning of the season might be a little bit rough, especially with the new OC, but hopefully they'll be able to find their groove as the season goes on. But we're obviously just going to have to keep an eye out for just see if there's any offseason injuries, see what happens with Chris Godwin, how he's feeling. But offensively, this is a team that looks like it's going to be really, really good. Defensively, we know what they were last year. I'm assuming they're going to be maybe a little bit better, if not at least the same. Offensively, it basically comes down to what are we going to get out of this new offensive coordinator. I am very intrigued. I don't know what to expect from him. Are we going to keep Liam system? Are we going to move on to a new system? I assume it's going to be a very similar system, just built off of some different changes. So that's the part I'm intrigued in to see, all right, what wrinkles does he have that Liam Cohen did not have? Bunch of stuff like that. But yeah, so my biggest questions for them will just be how much will the offense change? Is there going to be too much of a difference? Will we even notice a difference at all? Yeah, that's kind of just where I'm basically just sitting at and trying to decide. When it comes to, I don't want to skip ahead real quick, but I at least want to talk about my hedging situation because I don't want to just say, hey, I have a way to hedge this and then leave it in the atmosphere for 15 minutes till I get back to it. One way to hedge this is BUCS to win the division. If you do BUCS to win the division, it is plus 100 as well. So if you're feeling a little bit nervous about the over 9.5 and you're like, man, I don't know if they're going to get, obviously if you think under, then this is probably a situation where it's you aren't even going to think about this to begin with, but then the win division, it's basically going to come down to them in Atlanta. We'll break down Atlanta Thursday. I just don't know what to expect fully from Michael Penix. We're going to get a first full season of him. I just feel like Atlanta's still potentially a year or two away from being truly what we're going to get from him. It's maybe to put it in the basketball terms, maybe they're last year's Pacers, where you kind of were shocked for them. All of a sudden they're oh wait, they have a chance to win the division, and then it doesn't happen with Michael Penix. You're just okay, well, we'll just set them off. It's just all right, that was an aberration. The Falcons got rid of Kirk Cousins. That experiment didn't work. They're putting in Michael Penix. All right, they're gonna have to slowly rebuild. There's a chance that, like I said, maybe they're like the Pacers, where they might come out a little bit slow, but all of a sudden you look back later and you're the Falcons are winning the division by 3 games? Is that 4 games? I think I would not be shocked if it comes down to that point. Will it though? I don't fully think so. I do think the Bucs win this division. We'll talk more about the Falcons part when we break them down, but I just feel like the continuity with the Bucs have. I think basically, like I said, I think the Falcons are a year away from actually contending with them and trying to make it an issue. While Panthers, I think they're like 2-3 years away from competing. I think the Falcons could compete this year, but I think they're like 1 full year of being away from like the monster we could potentially see them be. That's if they figure their stuff out. The biggest thing at the end of the day is like figuring their stuff out. They have not done it the last few years. I mean, they paid Kirk Cousins $180 million, got Michael Penix in the draft, and then started Michael Penix, and now Kirk Cousins basically getting paid $180 million to be a backup. And you just look at that, it's like, man, that's money you could have put into defenders. You could have drafted defense last year. Like, they finally drafted an edge rush this year. I don't even think did I even mention that when I was talking about their depth chart? No, because why am I still talking about the Falcons? We're supposed to be talking about the Bucs. But yeah, basically, like I said, I think the Falcons, there's a lot going on there where it's just like, man, I don't know if I trust them to fully figure it out. I at least have seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now do it 5 seasons in a row, winning the division. And regardless, like I said, I like them over the over-under 9.5 wins just to go basically 10. I think that's going to be one that's going to be sweaty. Like, I would not be shocked if it's like week 16, week 17. We need like we need a win we need 2 wins in a row to do it. We need 1 win in the last 2 weeks to get it done. That's why I kind of see this situation. So that over-under win total, I'm not going to be too shocked by. Bucs to win the division. I think that's more the one where I'm a little bit have my eyes set on, because at least that one, like, they can go 8-9, but the rest of the division just absolutely falls out. It can still win, it'll be fine. So that's one I'm looking at there. I have 2 props when it comes to this team. That's it. I'm not gonna go too crazy, but there are 2 props I genuinely enjoy. I'll give you the one first that I'm more indifferent on. It's Bucky Irving over 1,000 rushing yards, basically. Tempted. I'm writing this in red because it's one that might make the cutting block, might not. I'm just not fully sold yet. I want to take it because last year he had like 1,100, almost 1,200 rushing yards, and I think he spent at least like the first month of the season behind Rachaad White, not getting a lot of the carries. I think now that they know what they have in Bucky Irving, he's going to get a lot more carries this year. So that's what makes me really want to take him, but it's just like, I don't know. They don't totally go by committing, but Rachaad White still gets good playing time. But we read out their depth chart. I mean, they did not bring any running backs in, so that's a situation where, yeah. Sorry, I got a notification about the Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton. I started reading, but situation with Bucky Irving where it's like, if he gets the potential, like if he gets the amount of carries he did last year, especially earlier in the season, I think he might even end up with I think personally he might end up with an extra few carries this year because they're going to start the season with him. And like I said, they didn't draft anybody to replace him, so I think he's going to get a lot of go, but we're just going to have to see there. Over 1,000 rushing yards, not too bad at all. Like I said, last season he got like 1,125 or 1,175 off 207 carries. So if he can get around the 200 carry range again, I really do like that. But we're just going to have to see. I truly don't know what to expect from this offensive coordinator's playing. But I think I like the over 1,000 rushing yards. Probably my favorite bet of this show today. And it will make sense when I give it out. I mean, I can't believe it's this low, honestly. I don't know if this is because of like a schedule thing or if it's just older player and they don't think he's going to get it as much. Like, I really don't get this. Mike Evans, over 925 receiving yards, minus 114. Let me just read some numbers out for you real quick. These are his receiving yards since the year 2014 when he entered the league. 1051. 1206, and by the way, 1,206. 1321, 1,001, 1524, 1157, 1,006, 1,035, 1124, 1,255, 1,004 last year, and they dropped it all the way to 925. If you guys remember, I'm pretty sure Mike Evans missed started 14 games, played in 14 games. He missed 2 full games. And it took till all the end of that game, but he did get, even if it's just barely, he did get over the 1,000 receiving yards. He missed 2 games. If he plays in all the games, I mean, he flies over that. It's not a sweat at all. Our biggest fear with this bet is basically injury. If Mike Evans gets injured for more than a week, it's probably going to start getting a little bit sweaty. If he doesn't get injured, I mean, he's gotten 1,000 yards every season in his career. This is similar like the Mike Tomlin thing where it's like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's no reason to mess with it. If they're going to, and the thing is, we aren't asking him to get over 1,000 yards. We're asking him to get over 900 yards, which he has clearly done. with flying colors every time, every season so far. And I don't know if it's a thing where like they brought in Emeka Egbuka and they think that might be a thing too or whatnot. We're going to have to see, by the way, what Mike Evans' touchdowns is. We took his touchdowns last year. He had 11 receiving touchdowns. So if it's around like the 6-7 range mark again, you best believe we're going to be all over that again. But over 925 receiving yards, I just feel like, I don't want to say it's disrespectful, but it's just, I saw that number. It's like, that was one where it's like, you know, shine the glasses, shine. No way. Like I said, I expect this maybe like 960, 970. Maybe, I expect it to even be maybe at 1,000 exactly, but I don't know if they're scared of people betting the unders or if people bet the unders all the way to this, but I saw 925 and I was just blown away. Like, yeah, that's way too low. And yeah, Emeka Egbuka wise, I don't think I'm gonna take anything there. I want to see a little bit more. I don't think they've released his numbers yet either, so I want to see a little bit more of that. And then when it comes to anybody else, I just want to focus, like I said, I think those are the things I like, so I'm not going to go too much deeper. We'll look more into this team to see as more props come out, if there's anything, like I said, the Mike Evans touchdown, anything that I'm truly missing. So for this Buccaneers team, like I said, the Bucs over 9.5 wins, the Bucs to win the division, both of those are plus 100. Mike Evans over 925.5 receiving yards, minus 114. Those are the guaranteed bets I am for sure taking. One I'm considering is Bucky Irving over 1,000 rushing yards. Pretty tempted. I am tempted to take that as well, but I just haven't locked it in yet. But I'll admit, I haven't bet this Mike Evans over under either, but I'm going to be all over this before it even moves because I love this 925 number. That's going to do it for today, though. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for support. Officially, all my JC futures that I'm going to take for NFC South breakdown, part 1. We got the Saints under 6.5 wins. I'm going to be looking for Olave under receiving yards as well, and I'm going to be looking for Saints to finish last in the division. Those are the 3 bets there. The bets for the Buccaneers. I'm looking for the Bucs over 9.5 wins. Bucs to win the division. Both of those are plus 100. Mike Evans over 925 receiving yards. That feels way too low. And then there's a good chance I'll probably take Bucky Irving over 1,000 rushing yards as well. The biggest thing is the carries. If he can get around the 190 to 200 carry mark again, I'm going to love that number. And I think that's going to be a number that I'm okay with. I just also hope that he doesn't get as many carries taken away. I don't, and that's another thing I want to do a little bit more research on. Is like just the carry. What in projecting is like, what's the carry situation going to be between him and Rachaad White? But we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Like I said, though, for sure locked in. Saints under 6.5, Bucs over 9.5 wins, Bucs to win the division, one of those two, or Mike Evans over 925 receiving yards. The 3 bets I'm questioning: Olave's receiving under, Saints to be last in the division, but I kind of like that one, and then Bucky Irving over 1,000 rushing yards. Like I said, thank you all for watching, for the support. I really do appreciate it. We'll probably go over a little bit of NFL news next week, or not next week, on Thursday. There wasn't too much any crazy stories. Like, the only story really was that Anthony Richardson's fine. He just had a sore shoulder, so he's going to be fine for training camp. Past that, there really wasn't too much, so we're going to see if maybe that picks up by Thursday and we get some more big news. But if not, Thursday's going to be pretty simple. It's going to be just like today. We're breaking down the NFC South, but instead of doing the Bucs and Saints, we're going to do the Panthers. We're going to do the Falcons. Thank you all for watching. I will see everyone back in this feed on Thursday. And remember, please gamble responsibly.